This episode of Football Friends is proudly sponsored by our friends at Roasting Warehouse, your go-to for amazing coffee. And here's some exciting news. Their Black Friday sale is on now with 25% off all coffee online. Forget our usual discount code this week. Just use the code BF25 at checkout to snag this incredible deal. It's the perfect time to get in early for your Christmas gifts or treat yourself to some of the best coffee around. Head to www.roastingwarehouse.com.au and stock up now because their Black Friday deal finishes on the 1st of December.
That is extraordinary from Ben Garuccio. And it's their leading goal scorer and captain, Stephen Moore.
A very warm welcome to Archie Thompson.
Thanks, lads, for having me.
Talk to us some of the best moments for the national team.
It's going to take him fucking an hour to go through the 13 goals in one game.
I've got to pinch myself sometimes to think, like, man, I've actually got a world record. Like, I'm the only player in the history of our sport to score 13 goals in one game. A lot of people see the footballer, but they don't see the actual person. You'll see Stephen Walk running around fucking parking and yelling and screaming and you'll think, fuck this guy, man. He's like, but then when you know him outside of the pitch, he's like
just as much of a prick off the pitch.
Like, yeah, well, probably a bad example, but I'm probably like, I did co-commentary with Simon Hill, and I'm like, but the whole time I think, God, he probably thinks I'm shit.
That golden generation, doing what we did in the group stage to get out of the group, losing to Italy the way we did, kind of coming back and you were heroes. What was that whole experience like?
I so would have loved to have got 1 second on that pitch. Benny, I'm sure that bloody Aloisi keeps telling you about that penalty. But with the Socceroos, it was so nerve-wracking, man. Like, I remember it was so nerve-wracking. I always had fear when I went onto a football pitch, as much as I tried to tell myself that I didn't.
And welcome back to another episode of Football Friends with Ben and Steph. We have a massive guest on the show today, Ben. This is probably the first one where I've been a little bit nervous, doing my research, don't want to fuck up. What are you thinking about this one? You reckon you've got everything down packed?
You know what? I was actually thinking the same, but he's just the easiest guy to talk to. He's one of those guys, look, we never played with him, played against him a lot of times, but every time you see him at the stadium before a game, he always comes up to you, has a bit of a laugh, has a giggle. And I actually saw him when we were just coming back from Sydney after Unite round. And my boss, John Aloisi, was there having a chat with him. And I walked over, I said, "You ready for the podcast?" He goes, "Yeah, can't wait." So looking forward to getting him on. And I think he's actually here. So
should we tell everyone who it is? We haven't even told him the name.
Yeah,
Big Archie Thompson. I'm sure you've seen our reels, but it is Archie Thompson, to keep the suspense going for a little bit longer. But he will be jumping in. So as you said, he's here. So let's get him on.
And a very warm welcome to today's guest, an ex-Melbourne Victory superstar, someone that myself and Steph had a lot of battles with in the old Melbourne derbies. We usually came off worse for wear when we played against them, but a very warm welcome to Archie Thompson.
Thanks, lads, for having me. I appreciate it.
Do you remember the first one that came to memory was when you scored I think it was a last-minute winner off the crossbar and in, and you went straight up to the fan?
Yeah, gosh. I actually met that supporter in Geelong, and he actually made me a T-shirt of that actual moment, because he had captured it on TV and must have got it some printer or something and got it. I think, actually, I don't know where it is. But yeah, that was pretty incredible.
They were.
That's the best.
They were the original Melbourne derbies. I mean, you think back to them, fuck. I remember the quality of the football. Obviously, the Victory team, which I'm sure we'll touch on during the chat. But the crowds, the atmosphere. Even when we used to play at the old Etihad back then, fuck, it was full. Yeah,
man. They were pretty insane times in terms of the crowd and the atmosphere. I guess you get it in moments at the moment with the football, but yeah, that was sort of special times like that for that. Really, there was a good period of when that was all happening. Not just even the like that derby matches, but a lot of the games that Melbourne Victory were involved in. It was like because we had such an amazing fan base and atmosphere that like nearly every game, didn't matter who we were playing against, was always fantastic. But as soon as like Melbourne Heart came in, that just made it even more special because we were pretty lucky in having the whole of sort of Melbourne our own for so long, and then someone else comes in and then it just makes it a bit spicy. But yeah, really, really special times back then when I was playing.
Yeah, and we can we'll touch on obviously your Melbourne Victory career a little bit later, but first going into I guess when you were a younger player. So you were born in New Zealand, if the information on Wikipedia is correct, and then and then moved to New South Wales. So why did your family decide to actually move to New South Wales, and then why was football or soccer the sport that you got into?
Well, I was about 5 weeks old actually when we left New Zealand. So, and my dad was a Sparky electrician, so he would just kind of follow where the work was, and then that's how we kind of got into. We went to New South Wales first. I think it was Liverpool. I was only young then. I didn't know too much about that. But then we went to actually Lithgow. So I don't know if anyone doesn't know where Lithgow is. It's like at the foot of the Blue Mountains. It's in between Bathurst and God, what would it be?
Bathurst,
the Blue Mountains.
Bathurst in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. But basically, that was going to be my point. Well, if you don't know where Bathurst is, it's in New South Wales. But yeah, look, and that's kind of where my sort of love of football sort of began. But even then, trying to remember back then as a kid, I can only sort of vaguely remember parts of my football journey there. But then as soon as I went to Wodonga, that's kind of where all my memories really sort of kicked in. I mean, I have a big family. I have three brothers, two sisters. I have three half brothers, but not obviously till later in life. But and that was our Sundays. Like everyone in the back of the old Ford Falcon, and it was just a family affair for most of my childhood, and I just love that. Like it's just being able to do that with your brothers and your sisters and your family. We all played football, like mum, dad. My sister actually just became president of the local club that I played at. She's still heavily involved in that, and my mum still goes and supports that team on a weekend. My niece is now involved in that football club, Twin City Wanderers in Wodonga. So like that was a special time, and it's so special that I've still got roots within that family, still involved in my grassroots club. So it's so nice, really nice.
It's absolutely amazing, and you obviously kind of went on and signed for Bathurst 75 in 95, was it?
Yeah, gosh, I think.
That's when
that
we
was
were
it.
born.
Yeah,
You were signing your first professional contract when we were fucking born.
Yeah, mate. Actually, that wasn't even really a professional contract. That was just like a local team that played in the state division, and that was only state 2. So, I mean, there was a lot in between me starting my football career, juniors football in Wodonga, to playing in Bathurst 75s. I mean, I was part of a lot of representative teams. I was part of the Country New South Wales, Country Victoria, played with the likes of actually one of my first times going away with the Victorian country. New South Wales country team was actually going to going to the city. Going to Sydney and billeting, because this is when back when you used to billet with other teams. So billeting, if you don't know what that means, is when you actually go and stay with one of the, maybe the city team's families. So my first time was going there was staying with Harry Kuehl. So I stayed with Harry Kuehl for the first, my first time billeting with the Country New South Wales team for a week, and so that was that was, I didn't think at the time that he was going to go on to be an absolute superstar. But that was kind of introduction into the sort of rep sort of football, and then being in Bathurst, I would travel up to New South Wales to play in the academy team. That's when I was like with Harry Kuehl and Brett Emerton. So we'd be part of a team. But mate, to be fair, I was a young boy then. I definitely am not someone that like is like football. I mean, I love football because I enjoy it, but I enjoy other things. So I wasn't like completely focused on it. So a lot of the times, and probably my mum and dad would hate me for this, but kids don't do it. But I was probably hungover a couple of times going up that way to play with the boys, and they were always so pretty switched on, had little blinkers on. But country boy, mates going having parties and all this sort of stuff. I kind of would love that more than the football, and I actually stopped playing football for a while because I decided that, well, I want to have more fun with my mates, because you guys know you have to sacrifice a lot of things, and I wasn't willing to do that just yet. So I guess to kickstart my career back off again, because there was a period where I was like, really just not doing much, working in an abattoir, working at a Chinese restaurant. I was a kitchen hand. And then when I did see Harry Kuehl, when I was in that as a kitchen hand on TV, signing, re-signing another contract with Leeds United before, man, it was $100,000 or something. He's only 17 or something. I was like, wow, man, he's past there and I'm somewhere here. I must have gone wrong somewhere. But then that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to play some football. And then back to 75s were like, yeah, come play with us, get back into it. I started to, and somewhat a bit more professional and playing in the state league in Sydney, but that was always fun. But then, as you know, sometimes you believe in something hard enough, or the universe sort of brings it to you, I guess, and then the opportunity arose to go to the NSL in Gippsland, and that's kind of, it was a bit of a windy path to get to that. But I guess it was something I needed to go through and to just appreciate and be grateful for where I kind of ended up, I guess.
Fuck.
Yeah, man. There was so many little things that could have gone wrong. There was a time when I went to court. Mum was crying. That was probably another pivotal moment where I was in court, and Mum, I got three. I won't say why, but I got 3 months of 3 months of community service. No, not sort of 30 hours I had to do at the YMCA in Bathurst, and this was a young boy, and I remember my mum just crying and being really upset because my dad wouldn't come to court with me. He was ready to just go wash his hands with me because I was just such a rat bag. But Mum stuck with me, and she was like, "Arch, please, man, I can't do this. I don't want to be in this situation again." And I was like, "Yeah, Mum, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to make you proud." And that's kind of where that kind of led to,
Yeah, was that the tipping point?
Yeah. There definitely was sort of the wake up call. The wake up call to go, okay, there's got to be better ways to be doing life, even at a young age, and it's like we always kind of say to kids, to really believe and follow your dreams and believe that you can really do something. And we know within football that, man, it's hard and not everyone's going to do it and make it. But like you've got to have some kind of dream or hope. And I guess that's why, like, I was very fortunate and lucky that happened. I think Steph's got a bit tired of that and went, did he? He's like, mate, I can't deal with this guy's boring. I'm off.
No, just wait. He'll come back in. He'll come back in.
That moment for me was like a real a wake up call to say, like, my mum and dad are that actually, and you would probably know too, that he's the man. But you guys would know too, having it like your mum and your dad and your family, that how much they sacrifice, and to be able to give you the opportunity. And I think that and at a young age, you don't really realise that, I guess, or you see the effort that they try to put in for you. And I guess that was a wake-up call to go, well, hang on, look, my brothers and sisters have had to miss out on a lot because of my mum and dad seeing potential for me to be like, to do something like as a professional athlete. So that was a wake-up call, and I really don't think I'll look back after that. And it might be, I feel like with this ADHD, it gets thrown around a lot, but I got diagnosed with that like a couple of years ago. Probably I can understand now why it's so hard for me to concentrate on things. But it's the flip side of that is that it makes you so super focused on something that you've really, I feel that you've just got this real passion for, or something that you just want to really complete. And I think with football and me wanting to really try and give this a real go, I knew that I had to maybe not hang out with the people or be in the environment that I was in, because I knew that wasn't going to make me grow. And in hindsight, I wish that I could have maybe have dealt with certain friendships a little bit different, because I was so cold, because I just was like, nah, you're out. You're not good for me. You're not doing. And really, they were just beautiful people, good mates that would do anything for you. But just, for me to really explore what I wanted to do, or at least give it a real go, that was just not the place that I needed to be in. And I wish I had done things. And life, you wish you had done things differently. But for me, it was, and then that was just super focused. And it started. It was 16 when I said, like, that's it. I'm being a professional footballer. I don't care, whatever it takes.
You obviously made some good decisions at that time. Obviously, you say you can always maybe change some things, or you wish you did something differently, but it did. The decisions, I'm sure, is what led you to having the career that you had, and you still had a fucking unbelievable career. Do you think that maybe had you not have lost those years, you could have had an even better career?
Well, yeah, I there's definitely things that I missed that I probably, when I look at how other players sort of went on to having careers over in Europe, but that might not even happen either. Like, but I know that maybe even I know that I was so super focused to become a professional athlete and a professional footballer and get that contract. There were still like real parts of me that would still float back into that kid that was rebellious and that would really not be so professional and would want to go and do the things that you're not meant to go do. And so I'd always kind of be tugging myself from one thing to the next, and not like, instead of being like super focused and really being professional, looking after my body well. When I look at the elite of their mindset and what they were doing, I could do that, but I would float out of it. Like, it's that's the kind of, and if I could go back, I would try and see if that might have made things a little bit different. But then I'm happy with kind of what I've achieved. I mean, I played 4 years in Europe, which was for me a great experience. So I played in one of the biggest clubs in the Netherlands on loan. Okay, I played 10 minutes and made 2 appearances, and probably partied harder than the guys that played every single minute. But I remembered, it was funny because when I was at PSV and they were kind of they go all gather at the mark when they win the championship, and you grab the trophy and you kind of go out and you lift it up and the crowd cheers for you. And so they had all the guys do it. And I was on the bus. They called flugels. So they were like shots. So I had about 1,000 of them. And then I got to the actual, got to the stage and then I was like, yeah. And then you could hear everyone go, oh, yeah, yeah, cool. You know, who's that guy, man? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who is that dude? But these are great experiences. Like, and I mean, I feel like an amazing experience being part of something really special here in Australia with the A League. So,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
The journey of obviously every player is different, and maybe if you
Mm.
were more professional and so focused, maybe you could have overthought things as well. I think there's different players that deal with it in different ways, but you touched on obviously going over to Europe for 4 years. You were in Belgium. What was it
Mm.
like back then? The professionalism of the other players, the standard of the league, if you're comparing to the NSL and then when the A League started.
Yeah, I would say they looked after themselves a lot better. I mean, look, there was always still a big drinking culture with football. Um, Obviously, when I was coming through and even overseas, but like there was just a different level of intensity when it came to just training and like. And you've got all these guys just coming from all different parts of the world. Like the old NSL, like everyone, I don't. I mean, there was obviously foreigners that came in, but there was just a lot of the people that lived here in Australia. So, I mean, they were just playing and then they would go do their job or whatever. But when you're overseas, you've got like Africans coming from, really poor, poor countries or like small villages that are trying to make lives for themselves. And so it's just a different type of intensity and everybody like, wants that position so badly. And I think that was the difference from what I saw in the old, like with the NSL and me going over there and experience it. It took me a little while to understand that and get up to that speed because I was someone like that would train, and then have fun with it and then just leave. And if I didn't make it into the start 11, I didn't make it, all those sort of things. But I think that kind of changed the way that I thought about football and like it was just a different intensity.
But you seem to do quite well there. Obviously, looking at the stats anyway, you scored a lot of goals, and at the end of the 4 years, you decided to come back to Melbourne Victory when the A League was starting. Did you have a chance to
Yeah,
actually stay over in Europe?
yeah, I did. I just when because this was more of a family reason for coming back. I mean, my wife at the time was pregnant with our second child, and we'd already had our daughter over there, and she was 2 years old. So it's so different. It's not just you and your wife, like you and your girlfriend or your wife. It's you've got an actual kid that you bring into the world, and you want them to be able to be in a family environment that I kind of grew up, or my wife at the time grew up in, which is like, family, friends. It's become, you're sort of very isolated over there in terms of having that support and even to like relationships outside of football. So when that was happening, and then Ernie Merrick, Gary Cole gave me the call to say, like, this new league's coming. We'd love you to be a part of this Victory side, and we've got the likes of Kevin Muscat and all this. And I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting, and it just kind of really worked out to be the perfect timing because, like, my wife being pregnant with our second child was like, this was probably the right time, and I'm someone actually that really looks at signs. Like I really look at signs more so these days now that I'm kind of a lot more present. Is that when something happens and it's one of those moments where it's like, oh, like one of the little ones that kind of takes you like a little punch of the heart, and you're like, oh, that intuitive feeling of like, oh, I've got to follow that. And maybe at the time I was unaware of it, but then when I look back on it, well, that's kind of maybe the universe kind of going, well, here you go, let's just roll with this. And so that's kind of how it all happened. And man, guys, what I thought was being like a step backwards was probably a million steps forward in every part of my life, from football to stuff after football. I don't know if I would have been able to have what I have now if I had stayed in Europe. If being here, being on the television, everyone kind of knowing me, knowing my personality, knowing my character, that doors maybe wouldn't have opened up like they have now if I was still overseas. So I'm very blessed that everything's kind of just rolled into the perfect timing for everything.
97 goals, 3 championships.
Yes.
What was I got a couple of questions, but what out of those 3 championships, what team would you say was the best one?
I'd have to probably say 93 goals, mate, because I always see the stats pop up and someone's always leapfrogged me, and it did say 93 goals for the Melbourne Victory from the A League. So
a couple more.
I know I should probably say that, but then it's probably going to eat at me or afterwards. So so 93 goals, but I would say so many different unique teams like that I've been a part of. I would have to say the team that won the championship and the league 2014-15 for me was probably one of the best victory teams that I'd been a part of. But then you look at the championship teams that in the past they were amazing also. But I look at that victory side Bessar Berisha, probably one of the most lethal attackers in A-League history. Mathieu Delpierre, one of the toughest, strongest, best, I would say. I know it's, being biased, but defenders in probably definitely up there in Melbourne Victory history, but definitely we'd have to say in the A-League history. And then, I look at Guy Finkler, Faid Ben Kafala, it's just all over the park. There was just a lot of amazing players.
Was it Millsy, Valeri?
Yes, Millsy, Valeri. Guys, these guys are incredible.
I was speaking about this to a couple of the young lads in my team the other day, and I said, man, when you think back to some of the teams that we've had, and we were going through, probably Adama in his prime.
Adama Traore, mate.
It was fucking hell. All right,
yeah.
But then as a fucking winger, you're well, how the fuck am I meant to get past Jay Skeria or Adama Traore? It was kind of all bases covered. Fucking unbelievable team.
Yeah, look, Adama Traore, he's still, maybe a little bit tapered off to the Adama Traore that we knew back in the early days, especially with Melbourne Victory and even in the Gold Coast. But you think of him back there, he was just an absolute beast and a weapon and such an amazing footballer. We've got to remember what he did. He went on to play for FC Basel. He went and played for that Cote d'Ivoire team that's Ivory Coast which had all the superstars in it. And he's just such a beautiful, humble guy. He'd just do his biz and be like an absolute animal on the field. But then off, he was just this really amazing guy. And then Jason Guerrier, I remember when he was at Melbourne Victory, I love him to death. I think he's the most beautiful, beautiful kid. When he first came, he was a centre back for us. And man, I remember when he started, I thought, where did they get this kid from, man? Because he was slipping all over the park. I think he got thrown into one training session where he was going to be starting centrally, and then I don't know who it was at the time, but took him out straight away and nah, he's definitely not playing there. But I just love his resilience and his work ethic. He's adapted. He's changed his game to be playing out in this wide area where he's probably one of the best defenders in that position, because even though you might get around him, he's still got to try. He's got to get back. You've got to almost beat him 6 times before you actually get a chance to get something delivered. And he's made the Socceroos team. So, I've been really lucky that I've seen some guys that I've watched, and even you guys played against to become the leaders that you are. It's amazing how you've seen a lot of these youngsters come through and just evolve into being real. Well, the guys like beautiful humans. Like I see Rashid Mahazi's doing some amazing things with with his podcast and stuff, and just amazing stuff. Like it's I like as much as you want to see all these guys go on and do amazing things. It's like on the football pitch. It's just what you start to see off it. It's really beautiful. And then even when Jason Guerrier and Rashid Mahazi, because they're like. Rash would say to me, like, I remember going to Victory games with my dad, and we were like, who is that guy? Because we love him. We love him straight away, and it was a fan as a kid, and then he got to play with me, and we became really good mates. And then when I retired, he sent me the most beautiful message. I think he might have wrote a text or wrote like an actual letter to say what I'd meant to him as a kid. And what it meant to be like to play with. And even Jason Guerrier sent me this wonderful text. Man, I was so emotional about that because it's like, that's, that that you've touched your teammates in a way that they kind of remember you, that you sparked something in them as a kid that they've wanted to maybe play football, and I think that's special. And I maybe at the time when I was playing football, I didn't understand that or didn't see it because, your ego gets so bloody out there. And it's I guess only later in life that you kind of understand a lot of these sort of things. And then you can get back and go, wow, I really had an impact and I appreciate those sort of things,
Sometimes that's the best things about playing, obviously championships, scoring goals, but the relationships that you make in football are probably, they're the things that stay with you for the rest of your life. You can hang your medal up, you can look at your highlights of your goals, but you can't talk to it. It's not going to reply to you. It's not going to tell you how good you are or ask you to go out for a beer or to hang out when you're feeling a bit down. But those relationships are the things that stay with you. And going on to probably some of the other ones that you would have had in the national team, we haven't spoken too much about it, but playing for your country, Australia, that must have been something that you were dreaming of as a kid, and I'm sure you played with some of your idols that you looked up to. So talk us through, I guess, we don't want to keep you for forever. We can talk about a lot of moments, but talk to us some of the best moments for the national team.
It's going to take him fucking an hour to go through the 13 goals in one game.
Oh, gosh. I was thinking about that the other day. It's like I've got to pinch myself sometimes and think like, man, I've actually got a world record. Like, I'm the only player in the history of our sport to score 13 goals in one game, mate. Like, this little country boy that's freaking, I was born in New Zealand. Mum's from Papua New Guinea in a small little village that, so remote that even for her to meet my dad was like a lottery. Like an actual lottery for her to be taken. And then like a son later on's got a world record. It's freaking crazy. But but with the Socceroos, I would say, it was so nerve wracking, man. Like I remember it was so nerve wracking because your immediate feeling was, or my immediate feelings were, was like, are these guys, what do they think about me as a player? Do they even are they talking about me? Why is this guy in there? So immediately it's like the fear of, am I good enough? Am I actually going to be good enough to be a part of the Socceroo team with these types of players? Because the first kind of camp that I was in was, it was Colombia. I played at Colombia, in Colombia. So that was my first experience. And then playing those Oceanas, that's where I got my world record. But playing with these guys was just incredible. But then when the next, I think it was the Confederation Cup before the actual World Cup qualifiers, I was with Paul Ocon. That was the Confederation Cup. We actually beat Brazil. We beat Brazil. We beat France. And we won. We came third. So that was, I think it was Clayton Zane was up front. We had, I think Moore was maybe there. Popovic, Mile Sturjowski, Bresciano. We were only just young kids. So, I mean, I kind of freaked me out that I was a part of that. But, even when it came to see Mark Viduka, I was like, oh man, you know, being in the old NSL, I mean, he'd left just before, you know, I was starting to get going in that, but everyone would always talk about Mark Viduka. And to be fair, like me, growing up, because I was in the country, I knew nothing about NSL. I knew nothing about football history. So I think in a way it kind of was good that I was so naive about things. But you still knew who those guys were. So it was just feeling like once I kind of got over the nerves of like what they thought about me, and you know, because that's what I feel. I don't know if you guys feel this, but it's like when you guys were young coming in, yeah, it was like what I thought you thought about me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting, Arch, because, you know, I think unless you're a footballer, maybe you don't understand this feeling, but I've been like that, you know, hundreds of times in my career. And I think the interesting thing is like, how did you get over that? I remember being like that a lot of times, and I've kind of crumbled. I also remember being like that a few times and actually coming out the other side and going, "Oh fuck, I proved myself. I know I've proved myself." How did you
Yeah.
kind of deal with that and not crumble in that situation?
Well, man, to be fair, I've crumbled lots of times too. Like we all have, I think. I think it's just, I guess, get back on the bike, man, and ride it again until you fall off again. I think that's the belief that you got to have. I guess it's like when you've got a manager too that kind of believed in you. And I think when Hiddink gave me that start against Uruguay in Uruguay for 2005 World Cup, then I kind of thought, wow, okay, I've got this guy that's got a lot of faith in me. He's starting me. I'm like, well, you must be doing something right.
Yeah.
If you've got that, so you know you got to try to feed off that, and but it's always going to have doubt and fear. And I mean, I always had fear when I went onto a football pitch. As much as I tried to tell myself that I didn't, I was always and even what I said to people was like, oh yeah, you know, the football pitch was my sanctuary. As soon as I got on there, I completely forgot about everything, all my worries, and like, yeah. But man, I was so shit scared of being that one that made the mistake that would, like, people would then all of a sudden, like, I'd be thinking, he's not good enough, because they can tell you that. People aren't afraid to tell you that. Like, we're in this industry that, unfortunately, like, you're going to get told that by fans, by your own fans, by other people's fans, by, you know, and I don't know, like in other industry that where you could hear that vocally being told to someone and it's okay. Like, so I think that we've got to build a bit of a thicker skin in the industry that we're in. But it hurts sometimes and it's hard, but it's like you just got to keep getting up. And I mean, I copped it early on in my media career, and I still probably get it sometimes now. But like, I think like there's the times where people are like, "Why have they got this guy on here? You can't even speak English. You can't even analyze things. You can't string two words together." And like, you know, you read that and it hurts, and it's like, you know, because you're thinking, man, I'm just trying to do the best that I can, you know, with what I've got. But then once you kind of like, I feel like you be comfortable, you know that you're doing the best you can, you prepare as hard as you can, and to have the knowledge of what's going to be happening. And I'm guessing it's like like it is with football too, like you prepare well enough. And sometimes it's not going to be delivered as beautifully as you want it to be delivered. You guys, like you will know, like go out to a football pitch. It's like you are not going to play sometimes the greatest game of our lives. But I think sometimes the fans, I've got to remember or think that we're just human. And it's not like we're going out there to be bad. Like we're not. And I guess that's, I think really is just a bit, keep getting back up. And try to do the best that you can. I'm at a point in my life now where I feel so comfortable that what you get, you know, what you see is what you get. I mean, I so many times in my life, even with the media early on, I tried to be someone else that I wasn't. And I think once we get to a point that we know who we are, we're pretty good.
Fucking unbelievable. Like that's
great.
And
you know what, man, like it's taken me a bit of time to get to like this point. I mean, I live now like a life of sobriety now, so I don't fucking carry on. I don't go out. I don't party. I don't drink. It's been close to almost 3 years that I decided to stop doing that. And, so it's kind of like opened up my mind to my behaviours in the past and why I did certain things and why maybe it affected relationships with my football, certain feelings about stuff and how I kind of would feel. I was such an uncomfortable kid growing up, like such an introvert. You wouldn't even, you couldn't get a peep out of me. And then ways of kind of me being able to go hey, I'm here, or putting on all these different masks to kind of feel comfortable being in whatever environment, it's been all my life. So I think cutting all that sort of stuff out and now that I've kind of feel comfortable with who I am, it's I would just kind of wish I had done that a little bit earlier in my career, where it's like I've kind of just gone, nah, it's some people can do it nicely. I can't. It's like, I go 0 to 100 with a lot of things, man. So that's kind of it's got me in trouble so many times. So now I feel very good and I'm blessed. And like now I can wake up and think, I didn't do anything bad, did I? No, I didn't, Yeah. So I think that's helped me in a lot of things too,
Yeah, crazy. With the last thing that we'll touch on with the national team before we do speak a little bit more on your after football journey, that 2006 World Cup, obviously the first time we'd made the World Cup since a long, long time. You didn't play any minutes during that World Cup, but what was the experience like going away with, that golden generation, doing what we did in the group stage to get out of the group, losing to Italy the way we did, kind of coming back and you were heroes. What was that whole experience like?
Yeah, gee, just incredible. I don't even know why I went off on that little rant just before. I guess this is the thing. Things just go. I just go off the whim of things. But that experience was just incredible. I mean, I so would have loved to have got 1 second on that pitch, because then I feel like you're completely a part of it. You're just completely a part of it. So I think in ways that kind of tainted it for me personally, but from an experience and sharing it with a group of guys that had gone through so much to get to there and be a part of this thing was just something that was just incredible. And I feel like the guys that didn't play in that World Cup, we all kind of contributed in some way. I guess the guys wouldn't be prepared the way they would be prepared if we didn't train like we trained, and so that's kind of. Well, that's what I try to tell myself. I try to tell myself that Lucas Neal wouldn't have had the career he had if I wasn't running at him each training session. But look, just incredible because that whole experience was still talked about today when people would say to me, man, that World Cup was just amazing, or even that World Cup qualifier was just incredible. I've just got to pinch myself sometimes when I do these things. It kind of takes me back, and it takes me back to those times that where I've been a part of some teams that have really impacted the sport in our country. It's after 35 years we hadn't qualified for a World Cup, and then to be a part of that team that did it, and to see always see footage of what we had done. And Benny, I'm sure that bloody Aloisi keeps telling you about that penalty that he scored, any chances, and to score the goal at the World Cup, I mean, that's just unbelievable. Not many people get to do that ever. So I mean, that's pretty special. But they're just big impacts that I've been so lucky and grateful to be a part of, and that generation, the golden generation. And I feel sorry for the guys that I feel like that talk is slowly starting to go away. But the poor guys that would come after that, Socceroos, would be oh, that golden generation, but that golden generation. I'm glad that talk is slowly starting to kind of become a little bit quieter, because it's pretty unfair to put that expectation on the guys that come through. But that was just an amazing experience. Great, amazing World Cup too.
I think you can't put too much pressure, but in reality, it fucking was a golden generation. Like, to have that many players playing at such a high level, and I know, but not just playing at a high level, you've got guys, fucking hell, Harry Kewell signing for one of the biggest teams in the world. Like, you're winning Champions Leagues. That's like, we've got players now in the Premier League, but you're going to it was ridiculous. And for you to be a part of that, the experience, even not getting on the field, and I know the fucking feeling, and it would be, it would eat you up, but the experience, I would cut off my arm to be a fly on the wall in one of those World Cups.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, even having John Travolta downstairs singing and dancing, man, like John Travolta singing Grease, and we're downstairs and enjoying that sort of stuff. I mean, that was just amazing. And like you said, you're touching on some of those players and where they were playing. I mean, Brett Emerton was playing at Feyenoord and winning UEFA. I think he won a UEFA Cup with that team. And unfortunately, I think he missed that final because of the suspension. But he was winning championships over there with that team. Kalina was at PSV and played regularly and playing in Champions Leagues and winning championships. And then you had guys that playing in the Serie A. Bresciano and Grella were playing at Parma, and they were this is when Parma was right up there, playing week in, week out, Serie A. Harry Kewell at Liverpool,
Timmy
at Everton, and Viduka playing at Newcastle United. Even Craig Moore, Lucas Neal was the highest paid player at West Ham. You know what I mean? And he captained the side, and then it's crazy to think that was the team that I was a part of, and just incredible, incredible.
And then we go. The one thing, I guess, as a player that is always guaranteed in football, nothing is given to you. Nothing is ever really coming your way because you deserve it. I think football kind of deals you all different things, but the one thing that's guaranteed is the day that you're going to retire, because there's always going to come a point where the body doesn't allow you to do it, or you just don't want to do it anymore. You decided to retire, and you've obviously gone into media. Was it pre-planned that you wanted to get into media, or is it something that kind of just happened coincidentally, or you saw a sign? What was it exactly?
Look, it was just I was really lucky. I think I was very blessed with the career that I had in the A-League, and then Murray Shaw, who was the head of Fox Sports with the football department, said, Arch, come join our team. We want you to be a part of it. And I said, yeah, definitely. I'll give it a go. Why not? And I still had an ambassador role with Melbourne Victory. So the transition for me was really good, because I could, straight into a career, and, the money was really good. And then, for someone that was retiring, and then also to have a wage with Melbourne Victory, that really they didn't need to do that. And I think I'm forever grateful that they gave me that to kind of ease into another role. So, and I've been fortunate because not many other players have had that. So, and other players have had that tough. And I've really walked a fine line when it comes to Fox Sports. And in hindsight, I wish I had done a better job for the guys that gave me that opportunity, because I was very loose. I never watched games. I'd rock up and think that what I knew that without having any context about what was going on, that I could just wing it and then it'd be okay. But then you get caught out very, very quickly. And I think, I did get caught out lots. But they still gave me the opportunity. I think because they when people just don't. They see something in you that maybe you hadn't seen it, or you haven't got to the point that you can see just yet. And I think that maybe that's even with players. Sometimes a coach might not see something in you that another coach might. So like, this is why I was like, you know, you're not a bad player. It's just that coach maybe not be able to coach you.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that I kind of I've been blessed that that's happened in my media career, and now that I love it so much. Like, you guys have had a taste of it. You know what it's like. I get so excited to be on TV, man. I don't know what it is. Like, as soon as that light goes on, I'm like this. Like, it brings back that nervous energy that I used to feel when I went onto the pitch. So you know, when you get those nerves, it's that you're actually wanting to do something well. Like, I think that's where that nerves come from. Like, and you want to do something well. You're excited. You feel, yeah. So that's the sort of excitement I get when I step in front of a camera. And I love Channel 10 and Paramount because they give me that license to be able to be me. You know, like, so I can and you know, I think that's a beauty thing is. With me, like you, like I said, you what you see is what you get, and people see through something that's not real. I think, yeah, very, very, very quickly. So I'm so lucky, guys. Like, man, football's given me so much, and the A Leagues have given me so much, and and everyone that's through it, like, you know, after football, it's just been amazing. And bro, like I'm working on F1. Like, a kid that wagged school.
Spring Carnival at the races as well.
I'm covering the Spring Carnival. I'm at the Formula One. I did this piece that actually started the F1, like on Channel 10. Like, that was the footage of me starting Channel 10's coverage of the F1, and they played it even again for a second year. Like, and this is a kid that. Like, wag school, never even finished school, you know, but like, yeah, I guess that when you love something so much, and now I love the media stuff and other things that maybe come about because of that, because I love it so much, I feel that it's easier. And look, you know, I still would go from games going, man, like, why didn't I do that? Or why didn't I say that? Or I wish I could have said that better. But then maybe I'm not as hard on myself as what I used to be, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you know what? When you enjoy something so much, that's when you're passionate about it. And obviously you really enjoying what you're doing. And when you enjoy it and you're passionate, then you want to get better at it. And you know, you look forward to next week and you can maybe say something better. And you know what? It maybe doesn't always come across. That's the same even with the podcast. You know, sometimes I listen to myself, I said, I fucking sound like an idiot. But you know what?
But you love it, right?
Exactly right.
That's why
it's
you're doing
a chance to improve. It's a chance to
Yes.
obviously show your personality, which I think, you know, especially for yourself, is fucking hell. That's the best part because fucking how many corner flags did you fucking hump during your career?
Yeah.
And people became, you know, usually people that are out there though, that they become unlikable characters. But you're someone that throughout all of it, I fucking hated playing against you. You've always been a likable character.
But this is the thing, right? Like, I think that this is why this is so great, like, you know, that you guys are doing this and we get to see your personality, because a lot of people see like the footballer, but they don't see the actual person, and I think that gets lost. So like, you'll watch an Adelaide game and you'll see Stephen Walk running around fucking barking and yelling and screaming and you'll think, fuck this guy, man. He's like, but then when you know him outside of the pitch, he's like,
he's like just as much of a prick off the pitch.
Yeah, well, probably a bad example, but I'll probably. But you know what I mean? It's like, it's just, you get to see the personality of the person that, and I think that was lost with the A-Leagues. I think that was lost, that we didn't know. Like, early on, you got to know who the person was. You knew who Danny Allsop was. You got to see the characters, because these days, like, that connection from the fans to the players, or the people that don't even know sport, or the players, was lost. I think with all these sort of things and more content that we're trying to bring back, we're trying to bring that connection and the personality of the guys that are playing just a sport, because it's really just a sport. I think, like, and I want to know that. I want to know these guys. I want to not just, because I always sort of say now when I speak to someone, like, oh, what's he like? Not like if you can fucking do a 1-2 or whatever like that, or score. No, like, but what's he really like? Like, is he, and that's what we want to, that's what I like to hear. And that's what we want to bring that connection back to people.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And you get better, right, man? You fucking get better at stuff. Like, every time's like a chance to, and like I look back on, I was watching a game, I did commentary, I did co-commentary with Simon Hill, and I'm like, the whole time I think, God, he probably thinks I'm shit. He's like, God, why don't I just go? But this is what we're telling yourself that, But like, I genuinely want to be better at it. So I'll look back and go, okay, and then I'll listen to other people. I'll listen and try to, like, and even when with Harps, like Harper, Andy Harper, listening to him maybe when you were playing or like early on, I thought, man, he's using these maths. I think the way that he tells a story and the way he uses his words after now being like seeing it all, it's just incredible. I love the way that he describes things and how he can just pluck things and tell stories. It's just amazing. I look at Daniel McBreen again, like how he's just evolved into this amazing, like commentator. Like and that's just from doing it and learning and I like, it's so. Just don't take me fucking job, boys. That's all I'm asking. Give me something.
It's a tough gig though, right? Because when you're like, even us as players now, we watch every game, right? We're playing, we make a mistake. Obviously, people will notice that. But if you're commentating, if you make one fuck up, if you say the wrong word or you skip something, I'm listening and I'm like, this fucking idiot got it wrong. It's so easy when you're on the outside though. When you're the one on camera or you're on the microphone. Fuck, it's pretty easy to stuff up one word, but everybody that's listening or watching is like, he's got no idea, and then that's the narrative.
Yeah, mate, 100%. And so that's why you've got to be so super focused. And it's someone with my mind that forgets so much because of this fucking, like, this ADHD they call, like, you forget because you're thinking of other things, or you're so super focused that you want to get this out right that you forget everything else that's going on. So that's like, and we're all human. We all make mistakes. You know what I mean? And then also too with like the players and this is another thing that I found really difficult was the media and trying not to I guess go hard on the players where you don't want to lose that kind of the friendship or that respect. Because it's such a hard thing to do to play football, and it's so easy to talk about it outside. And so all the boys that are listening, all the players and you guys, if I say something, it's really it's nothing personal. It's just my opinion on what I see,
You know what?
And
Nothing wrong with that.
But that's a hard thing to try, and some people don't have a problem with it. Like some people could just go harder, like whatever. I'm out of it. But I always think it's like, I've got to think.
You go fucking Garuccio, he's fucking garbage. But you know what? He's a pretty good guy.
yeah. I might say it like that now, huh?
It's like when I messaged you and you were on the couch after my thing and you said that Riley McGree's scorpion kick was better. I fucking messaged you. I said, fuck off, Archie, you prick.
Yeah, but look, guys, it's a tough gig, and everyone wants to always thinking about stuff they can do afterwards, and like, but yeah, it's because you're up for some criticism if you get it wrong, I mean, it's made like they can personally attack you. It's just an open forum for that. But I guess if you like I said, thick skin, you're gonna fuck up. It's just human nature, and I do it more than maybe many. But it's like, okay, that's how it's gonna be. It's gonna have a bounce. They're still using me, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing. Like, it's like when players get criticised, right? Like Mitch Duke recently, he's been copping it you know what? And I understand. As a fan, I want people to have opinions. I want people to comment on stuff and everything else. But you have to think. It's like you being on TV, Mitch Duke playing, whoever else they want to hammer. Do you think a producer or do you think a coach would play someone or choose you to be on TV if they think you're shit for TV or he's shit for the team? Obviously not.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why you're playing. There's a reason why you're on TV, and they're not on it. So it's just. I think they forget that sometimes. Though. They think it's
man.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah, 100%, man. And and that's the thing. Like, I guess it's easy for someone to be able to just kind of go, yeah, but they're not. They've never been in a position to be in that position. So like, it's easy for them to make. And everyone has an opinion, right? Like, it's okay. I just think that, like, with the opinion, man, can it be like said in a way that's maybe that you're not fucking tearing the shredders off someone, like you know what I mean? And poor Mitchy, like I feel for him because, man, the guy works like a fucking machine.
Yeah.
He works so hard to try and do stuff off the ball. It almost like I almost want to say to him, bro, just chill out. Don't run so hard. When your chance comes, then you're fresh for it. But he's like an energizer bunny, man. He's just hardcore. But like, it's tough, man. Sports and all that sort of stuff's a hard gig, man. That's why not many people get to do it.
Yeah.
No.
It's very true. Should we go on to the quick fire questions? And we don't want to keep him too much longer.
Yeah, let's go. We'll do a quick fire. I'll start it off. Most memorable moment of your career.
Gosh, man, I've had too many. It's hard. They always ask you. They always go these fast questions. I'm always lagging on all of them. Yeah.
Quick fire turns into a fucking very long fire.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I've had lots. I guess probably just representing Australia is pretty incredible. I just put that out there, man.
Yeah. Not a bad one.
Otherwise, you won't get to the
played
rest
with?
of them. Shit. Again, so many good ones, man. Like, God, yeah, I don't know. Man. Sorry, lads. I don't even know. Like, it's got to be someone in that Socceroos team. Like, yeah, they were pretty.
What about your best advice for young footballers?
Oh, man, to be coachable. To be really, really coachable. And this is something that I like, you always hear things that kind of pop out and things that kind of will get said. And I guess at that time I was probably like, oh, yes, no, that's right. But being coachable, man, you got to be coachable. You got to be open-minded. You got to be willing to listen to everything and just not be like, nah, this is the way it's got to be. Like, and be, just be coachable.
Yeah. No, very, very true. Best stadium you've played at?
Probably have to say, I would say the Uruguay one, Montevideo. I just insane. That's the intensity of it and the atmosphere. So that was just for me nuts. Yeah,
unbelievable. Well, I think we can call it there.
There was probably 5 or 6 other questions. You go, like, let's fucking cut.
No, well, fucking hell. There was one more with fucking your dream five-a-side team. We'll be here for fucking another 3 hours.
He doesn't want to upset people. That's the thing. He's got the answers. He just doesn't want to upset people.
And look, I'm a people pleaser too. I've got no friggin' shame in saying that too. So I don't want to upset anyone. But mate, don't tell me about this five-a-side thing.
Nah, there's not a chance. I'm thinking, I'm just gonna. I'll call it there. But honestly,
I've got to get some rest. I've got some training. They can't fuck with this.
Honestly, Archie, really, really appreciate your time. We've been trying to get you for a while, which we finally snagged you. You are the mayor of everywhere, so we know you're a hard man to catch. But look, really appreciate you jumping on. It's a great chat, I'm sure, for your many fans out there, and especially those Melbourne Victory supporters. I love this chat, and really appreciate you jumping on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, guys. I know that, like, oh well, Benny, you got them on the Sunday, so mate, like,
Yeah.
yeah, look out. That's gonna be a good one.
I might get in trouble now actually for having an ex Melbourne Victory player on my fucking
Oh
podcast.
well, you see what happened with the golf they were playing.
Exactly.
Yeah, fuck.
But how good was that though? Like all three of them scored that were playing.
I
I
know,
might
they're going
score
to do
this
it every
weekend.
week.
What are the fucking odds of that happening? Like, we talk about it. Lolly scores the first one. Courtney Perkins scores then Ansonson. Like, man, like crazy.
It's good for theatre, as much as some of the fans
It-
and pundits, but it actually gave a talking point as well.
Well, mate, see what happened? Like, well, you know, sometimes as a player, right, you hear something you don't like and you go, I want to fucking stick it up that guy.
Yeah.
You know, and then, like, you get, immediately, Joe Lolly's thinking about that because
Yeah.
it's just been freshly spoken to. He's like, he's gone the golf swing, you know, and then, but then the great thing about it, and these social media guys have been spot on. I love it. Like, of the clubs, they're using that as little memes, you know, and and then it escalates and it's cool. Like, I love it. And it's so fun now, the way that now these clubs are doing it. Like, I think, it was, Auckland. They used one of the Office. I don't know if you saw that. Well, they used one of the Office, things where they put the, I think it was Jets on one of the guys, and then the Auckland symbol on another guy, and he came and it said a week later, we got you in a week or a week's time. Those sort of things. It's like, it's sparking it all over, and they're using those little things that might get said, which is, it adds to the fire and the drama, and it's a piss take too. Like, let's be honest, we can't be too fucking serious all the time. Like, I think that's one thing that I will say to kids too. Don't try and, like, I mean, is be serious, but try and see the beauty, like, you know, the beauty and just the fun of it as well. You know?
Yeah, 100%. But we'll let you run. We really appreciate it. I'm sure we'll see you on the sidelines, or we'll hear you in the commentary box, and I'll make sure that I don't fucking hammer you if you get anything wrong from now on.
Well, they haven't, because you know that I'm probably going to get something wrong. I know it, 100%. But
Nah,
yeah.
it's what makes it good. It's what makes it real, right?
Yeah. Well, mate, Drew Dredd. Like, Jed Drew. I've been saying Drew Jed for every. What is going on with the names? Like, first names for last names too. Like Hayden Matthews. Like, I'm like, it throws me. I'm like, do I put what's the fucking? How's the name? Like,
Well, if it's Matthew Hayden, Archie, it's the cricket player.
yeah, well, see what don't say that, because now I'm going to go and fucking say it. This is what happens. I was poor Tarek. I was calling Armand for a while there too. So, oh mate, it's crazy. Man.
Oh well, nah, we appreciate it, and we'll see you very soon.
Much love, boys. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
What a chat. What a chat it was. And I knew I had high expectations for it. And I think it definitely delivered, because he's just, he's one of a kind. He's probably one of the most charismatic people I've seen, you know, even the way he is in front of a camera. Sometimes I watch him, I think, fuck, I wish I could be like that, because as soon as there's a camera there, I tend to freeze. And he just thrives under it. And he spoke about it. He loves it. He's passionate about it. And you can tell.
Yeah, well, I think he said he's an introvert, or he was an introvert. Fucking no chance. I'm calling bullshit on that. You can't be the way he is and be an introvert at all. Like, there's some big transformation, because he is one of those guys. Like, when I did that Orcs talk with Morgs, like, I was so like, fuck, like, I've got to really like go out of my comfort zone, because I think I'm okay. I'm a bit out there, but that was like on another level. But he's the type of guy that can go and do, like, he spoke about fucking F1s. He was on, we didn't even speak about MasterChef. He's on these programs where he's actually completely out of his comfort zone. Yet, even when he makes mistakes, he doesn't then, like, crumble. He doesn't speak a little bit less or go quiet. He rolls with the punches. And I think, you know, like you said, he cops a little bit of shit sometimes about, you know, if he said something wrong or whatever it is, but he just goes with it, and he is who he is. He doesn't care about really anyone else, obviously. He still gets to him those comments, but I think in this industry, as a footballer, to be honest, he's picked two great professions to have that attitude with. Footballer, you need to have thick skin. You need to not care as much what people think. And then media personality, because people are out to get you because you're on TV. You're just an easy target, and people think because you're on TV, you know, you're fake almost, so they can say what they want and whatever else it is to you, and it's not going to upset you. but he's obviously learnt to deal with it. He's thriving. He's someone for us, obviously, we look up to and think, fuck, if there was a perfect job post-football, he's doing it, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I just love the way he is, and yeah, the way that he kind of spoke, and I think I probably attribute a lot of it. He said he was an introvert. I probably attribute a lot of it to football and the career that football gave him, and the platform it gave him to show that he could be himself. And yeah, I think now what he's doing after football, it's unbelievable. Yeah, I think me and you would definitely be happy to be doing what he was doing after football. But he also had an unbelievable career, and that's probably what maybe some of the younger generation now don't realise how good of a player he actually was.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess he spoke about family, the reason why he came back from Europe. That's the thing. Different players have different, not objectives in just their career, but in their life and what they want to give. And having kids changes everything. Obviously, the second one on the way, as he spoke about, he wanted to come back and be around family and friends. And maybe if he didn't do that, maybe his career could have been better in terms of staying in Europe for longer, playing for bigger teams. But, you look at the legacy that he's left now at Melbourne Victory. He's a fan favourite there, always will be. It's going to take a lot to beat him, I think, for being, the number one best ever Melbourne Victory player. 3 championships, the goals that he scored, the moments that he created there. So I think, he's made a great decision there coming back for his family, but then his football's gone really, really well. And like he said, it's led into this stuff post-football because everybody knows his personality and because he is so unique, it really is someone different. You can have 10 people, if they're all the same in the room, it becomes a bit boring. You sometimes need those 1 or 2 people that are a little bit different to make it exciting. And if we're trying to capture more audiences, people outside of the A-League core fans, he's the perfect one for me for it because he's just so out there. He's going to get people talking about the game. They're going to watch it, whether they're saying shit that's good or bad. They're talking about it, and I think that's what he delivers.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think that's all we've got time for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening in. There's obviously a lot more football to come this weekend, another big round of action. So make sure if you can get down to any games, get down there. If you can watch any games, make sure you get it on Paramount and 10. Steph, all the best for your game this weekend.
Yeah, big one against Perth Glory. I'm in for another goal. I think I'm confident.
You kick it off. You're kicking it off
Friday
on
night. Friday night at Cooper's. We should play every single Friday night. It's the best venue for a Friday night game. It means you get the weekend off as well.
Exactly right. Well, make sure you get the win. Guys, thank you very much for listening in. Remember to follow, subscribe, wherever you're listening from. We're Football Friends Pod on Insta and TikTok. We're Ben and Steph Pod on X. And we're Football Friends with Ben and Steph on YouTube. We'll see you after this weekend on Monday.
Thanks, guys.